So today we've got Adam Stevens, head coach of Aurora University. He's coming off his first season at Aurora, where the team went 23-20, big turnaround from last year. And Coach actually came from a very successful program at Central College in Iowa. Coach Stevens, thanks for joining us today. To get things started, just talk about your path to Aurora University. How did you get here?
First off, thanks for having me, Jason. Yeah, I was a head coach at Central College in Iowa, Division III school for 11 seasons. I got hired when I was 24 years old, actually. Pretty young. Wasn't quite sure what I was doing back then. Not that I do now, but I think I know a little bit better now, maybe.
Absolutely.
But we had a really good program. We had a great thing going. Central was a great school. When Aurora University came open last summer, about this time, it was very intriguing to me for a lot of reasons. My wife and I really liked the area. The tradition that Aurora has in baseball is, second to none. 21 NCAA tournaments in 30 years, and, I think it's 23 conference titles and 6 World Series, and, just a great baseball area, a great baseball tradition. So many good players in the Chicagoland area, and it was really exciting, a new challenge, and, we've got off to a pretty good start here, so we're, certainly excited about the future.
Absolutely. And as a proud alum, I'm excited about it too. Glad to have a guy like you on board to right the ship with the Spartans. So with that in mind, what are some initial recruiting challenges when taking over a baseball program, whether it was Central when you started your career or recently here with Aurora University?
I think they were both separate challenges. At Central, when I took over, the program wasn't very successful, at least in the last 5 or 6 years before that. I got hired when I was 24, so I was lucky, but, at the time we weren't very good. So it was a challenge to recruit because we didn't have a ton of tradition. And I certainly learned a lot from that, I think. And with us, here at AU, we certainly have the tradition to speak of. Now it's just, a couple of years before I got here, they had certainly had a really good run. 2012, they were an outstanding team. And in 2014, struggled a little bit. So just trying to get back to that great tradition and getting the types of quality student-athletes that we need to do that. I think, one thing I know for sure I've learned in 12 years as a head coach is that as a head coach, I'm only as smart as our players are good. So,
Absolutely.
One of the great coaches at Central, Hall of Fame football coach, Ron Skipper, I met him when I was 24 years old, and I asked him, what's your best advice you can give me as a coach? And he said, you can't win the Kentucky Derby riding a mule. So, and I don't think there's any doubt about that. So recruiting is just essential to success at the college level, and it certainly takes more than talent, to be a good college baseball player. I think there's so many other things it takes to be successful, and we certainly look at all those things when we're recruiting young men.
So are there one or two maybe that stand out for you and your program when you are recruiting?
I love leadership skills. And, team captain and things like that, I think, are just really important because that means that other people, look up to you and look at you as a leader, which means you do things the right way. I've seen so many times in college where someone comes in that's just super talented but really has never had to work a whole lot at it, and sometimes they don't do very well at the college level. The great thing in college is you have a lot of time to improve yourself. You have all year to work. Other guys that come in that, I wasn't quite sure if they were going to be a varsity, college baseball player. But, man, they had a great work ethic and a great attitude. They ended up being all-region players, So I don't think there's one way to do it. Obviously we want both, guys that are super talented, that have great work ethics and great leadership skills. Those guys, certainly are hard to find out there, and we're doing our best. I think we have some in our incoming class, certainly, and those are things that really matter to be successful at the college level.
Absolutely, and you can see that at all levels. It's not just how hard you throw or how fast you run.
Sure.
What you do on the field, off the field. It all plays into that program's success.
And I'd say the one other thing too would be just, and this is maybe obvious, but just being a good athlete. I love multi-sport athletes personally. I think I just saw the number 1 draft pick in the country yesterday was a multi-sport athlete. I think the ability to play other sports and want to means, to me, have a good work ethic and that you're a good competitor. We had a pretty good luck at Central. We recruited a lot of high school shortstops and, ended up moving guys around based on what that team needed. And, we were very athletic, and that's something that, we're looking to do here as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And one other thing I found in my coaching career, those guys usually had their academics under control. You didn't
Sure.
didn't need to be a 4.0, but if, say, for example, you're a varsity football player and varsity baseball, you're managing that schedule, 2 times a year where, there's nothing wrong
Sure.
with being a baseball player in high school. That's what I was. But the fall, you don't have that added workload, and,
Sure.
and you can just
Sure.
be a little more prepared going into college. So that leads me into another big question I wanted to ask. How important are the academics of the guys you recruit at Aurora, and with your experience at the D3 level, what role does that play in the recruiting process for you?
Yeah, it's extremely important. I mean, for one, like Central or Aurora, they're very good schools academically, so you're going to have to be a good student and work hard at it to be successful, in the classroom. And that's something that we can offer, a chance to win and play in the NCAA tournament, play a high level of baseball, but also a chance to get a great degree from a good private school. Employers and grad schools just love athletes from good schools, and I think there's a lot to be said for that. I've seen it, a million times. So certainly they don't have to have a 4.0. I never did, so I can't expect our guys to.
Right.
But to me, it's more just, guys that are going to, find something they love to do, a major that they're really interested in, and work hard at it, go to class, ask for help when they need it, and you have the resources at school like Aurora to do that. So definitely times when you say, he's probably not a good enough student. And I think it does trickle down to the field. You work hard in the classroom, you're going to work hard on the baseball field.
Yeah,
Sure.
you either have it or you don't, and when you do, it leads into other successes in life, especially in the classroom. Man, I was never the smartest guy walking into a classroom at Aurora, but graduated in 4 years, 3.5 GPA, and it wasn't because of my brains. It was definitely because of my work ethic and using the resources, like you said. When I needed help, I went and got it. There was a support system there at Aurora, and helped guys like me and other teammates of mine get through and be successful 11 years now after walking off the campus with that degree. So great point.
Yeah, and if you have a team of guys that school's important too, and baseball's important too, it's a fun environment to be in because everyone's pushing each other, and that's kind of how the real world is. Once you get up there and get jobs and stuff like that, there's a reason that grad schools and employers, like I said, love athletes from good schools.
One last question, and then we'll start to wrap things up. Twitter, Facebook, social media have really taken a leap forward, especially since my days as a coach. But do you ever do check up on guys' Twitter accounts, Facebooks with guys on your team in recruiting?
Absolutely. I'm kind of more of an old school guy, and I just am starting to figure out the whole Twitter thing. I think I do get on there and stuff like that, and we do research, on our guys, and it doesn't take much to get onto somebody's, Twitter account and check them out, what they're doing and that type of thing. I think there's definitely, I know coaches do that, and I know, at times they are turned off by what they see on there, certainly. So I do think it's important for guys to be smart about, not only what they put on Twitter, but just about what they're doing, who they're hanging out with, and those things definitely matter when you're trying to get to a good college baseball program, get to a good athletic program if you're a senior in high school.
Absolutely. Yeah, the little things that, play into this process.
Sure.
Again, the work ethic, the baseball skills, but character. You want to make sure the right guys doing the right things are coming into your program. So great stuff, and good for our listeners to be aware of, because I know the high schoolers are big on all of that social media, so take note, fellas. And then one last thing, Coach, and I'm asking this both for our listeners and as an alum, but where do you see Aurora University and the Spartan baseball program in 5 years?
Hope we're back to what Aurora University baseball has been for a long time, which is, one of the best programs in the country. Getting the NCAA tournament on a consistent basis, which certainly is not easy to do. We're certainly working really hard at that right now, and get to our 7th World Series of the program. We certainly have some work to do. I think recruiting's going really well, and that's, ultimately what it comes down to is to get guys that buy into what we're trying to do. I think we're starting to do that. We have some good momentum, and very excited about the future, and hopefully we can add to the great tradition that we have here at AU.
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to another trip up to Appleton myself. So you guys,
I hope to see you there.
yeah, give us a reason, and we'll be up there for another trip. I've been to 2 with the Spartans. It's an awesome experience, for the kids, for the school, and
Sure.
what I definitely see in the future for Aurora University. But thanks again, Coach. A lot of great insight today, both on the program and with the recruiting information. So definitely know your time is valuable here in the summer. But thanks again, and best of luck this summer with your recruiting.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jason. Appreciate it.